Gentlemen, let me begin with a simple but powerful question when you wake up in the morning. Do you feel alive, energized, and strong, ready to take on the day with confidence, or do you feel drained, sluggish, and older than your years, wondering where your strength and vitality have gone? For many men over 50, this question cuts deep because the answer often reveals something they'd rather not admit. The mornings that once began with drive and vigor now begin with stiffness, fatigue, and a heaviness in the body and spirit. What was once natural now feels forced, and what once gave them pride now sometimes leaves them quietly discouraged. This is not just about muscles or energy, it's about identity, about manhood, about the very essence of feeling alive. And the painful truth is that most men keep this silent, carrying it alone, hiding behind humor, work, or distraction, while inside they feel themselves slipping. I want you to pause and think about it. How many mornings have you opened your eyes, sat up in bed, and instead of feeling that spark of life, you felt an invisible weight pressing down on your shoulders? It's not just fatigue. It's the voice inside whispering that maybe your best days are gone. This silent struggle is one of the hardest burdens a man can carry because it's not something you announce to the world. You don't tell your friends at dinner, "I feel weaker than I used to." You don't stand in front of your family and admit, "I wake up tired." Instead, you put on the armor, you smile, you go to work, you play the role you've always played. But deep inside, there's a question you can't silence. What happened to me? Where did my strength go? I once sat across from a patient who embodied this struggle in every sense. He had served his country, fought battles that tested his body and mind, and returned home a decorated hero. Yet at 55, sitting in my office, he didn't look like a warrior. He looked like a man worn down by time, frustrated that the battlefield he could no longer conquer was his own body. His words have never left me. "Dr. Malik," he said quietly, almost ashamed, "I don't feel like myself anymore. I wake up and I'm not ready for the day. I feel like I'm fading. Is it too late for me to get my power back?" And in his voice, I heard not just his struggle, but the struggle of countless men who suffer in silence, asking themselves the very same question. And maybe you've asked yourself that too. You look in the mirror and notice the changes, the lines on your face, the slower pace, the mornings that require more effort than they used to. And you wonder if this is just the natural course of aging, if you're meant to accept this as your new normal. But let me tell you something I told that patient, and something I will tell you with absolute certainty. It is not too late. You are not finished. Your body has not abandoned you. The truth is, men over 50 often underestimate the resilience, the adaptability, and the regenerative power of their own bodies. What feels like decline can, in fact, be a signal, a message urging you to change how you care for yourself, to nourish yourself differently, to respect the rhythms of your body in a new way. This silent struggle is real, yes, but it does not have to define you. You don't have to surrender to it. You don't have to believe the lie that age equals weakness. The truth is, age can be a gateway into wisdom, into discipline, into strength of a different, but even more powerful kind. And when you decide that you will no longer accept waking up drained, when you choose instead to invest in your body, to honor your health, and to make small changes that lead to great transformation, then you begin to rewrite your story. Because decline is not destiny, and weakness is not the end, I remember looking into the eyes of that man, the soldier who once carried the weight of a battlefield on his shoulders, and seeing how heavy the battle with his own body had become. His question, "Is it too late to get my power back?" echoed with the fear that so many men carry but never say aloud. And yet, behind that fear lies the spark of hope, the possibility that life after 50 does not have to be a slow decline, but can be a chapter of strength, of mastery, and of renewed vitality. This is where the power of small changes enters the story, because transformation rarely comes from grand gestures or impossible commitments. It comes from the seemingly simple steps that, when repeated, compound into life-altering results. When we think about improving health or reclaiming energy, most people imagine drastic measures, hours at the gym, expensive supplements, or strict diets that feel more like punishment than healing. But what I've seen time and again is that it's not the extremes that change lives, it's the habits, the choices you make consistently, the rituals you commit to, the little shifts that signal to your body that you are on its side. For men over 50, these changes don't just influence the body, they shape confidence, mood, and even relationships. And one of the most powerful times to make those changes is not in the middle of the chaos of the day, but at night, when the body is preparing for its most critical work, repair and restoration. Think of your body as an engine that has run all day. It's accumulated stress, wear, and strain. By the time night falls, that engine needs the right fuel, the right care to ensure that by morning, it's ready to roar again. Too many men go to bed depleted, running on fumes, carrying the stress of work, poor nutrition, or the fatigue of neglect, and then they wake up surprised when the engine sputters instead of starts. But imagine instead fueling that engine before you sleep. Imagine giving your body what it needs so that through the night it can rebuild, restore, and prepare you to rise in strength. That one shift, what you do before you close your eyes, can turn mornings of exhaustion into mornings of power. I've watched men transform when they understand this principle. I've seen men who thought their decline was irreversible rediscover energy simply by making a single change in their nightly routine. They didn't overhaul their entire lives. They didn't chase after some complicated program. They made a choice to honor their body with a ritual, to see bedtime not just as the end of the day, but as the beginning of tomorrow's success. And once they felt the difference, once they experienced waking up with energy instead of fatigue, they realized how much control they still had, how much power still lived within them. And this is the beauty of it. Small changes require no dramatic sacrifice. No perfection. They are accessible to anyone willing to try. It could be as simple as replacing what you drink at night, choosing something that nourishes rather than drains, something that builds instead of breaks. That one act tells your body a different story. It whispers to your cells, to your heart, to your very system, you are cared for, you are fueled, you are strong. Over time, that whisper grows into a roar that you feel every morning when you rise. The truth is, gentlemen, our bodies are designed with wisdom far greater than we often give them credit for. Every night, as you drift into sleep, your body begins its most important work. Muscles that were stressed during the day start to repair themselves. Cells that carried the weight of your effort begin to renew. Hormones that influence your energy, mood, and performance quietly reset, like the gears of a clock aligning themselves for another day. Sleep is not just rest. It's a workshop, a repair center, a sacred time when the body takes what you've given it during the day and uses it to prepare you for tomorrow. The problem is, many men go to bed on empty. They go to sleep carrying stress, with poor nutrition, with a body begging for nourishment but receiving nothing. And then they wonder why mornings feel heavy, why energy feels low, why confidence slips further away with each sunrise. But when you understand how the body regenerates overnight, you begin to see how much power you actually hold in your hands. You begin to realize that the choices you make before your head touches the pillow are not small at all. They are the foundation of your strength, your vitality, your very manhood. Think of it like a farmer planting seeds. If the farmer tosses weak, lifeless seeds into the soil, he cannot expect a strong harvest. But if he plants rich, healthy seeds, he wakes to fields ready to flourish. In the same way, what you give your body before bed is the seed that determines what will grow in you by morning. Science confirms this in powerful ways. Testosterone, the hormone that fuels strength, energy, and even desire, rises during deep sleep. Growth hormone, which repairs muscles and keeps the body youthful, is secreted during those quiet hours of rest. Your nervous system, frayed by the stresses of the day, calms itself, recharges, and prepares you for focus and clarity tomorrow. But none of these processes happen at their best if your body is undernourished, if your circulation is poor, if your cells are starved of the very building blocks they need to regenerate. Sleep is a miracle, yes, but only if you give your body the tools to perform that miracle. Imagine, for a moment, lying down at night not as a man winding down into decline, but as a warrior preparing for battle. You fuel your body with what it needs, and as you sleep, your inner systems go to work like an army, repairing tissues, strengthening blood flow, balancing hormones, restoring vitality. You wake not as a man worn down by time, but as a man sharpened, renewed, and ready. That is the power of aligning with your body's natural design. That is the gift of respecting the science of regeneration. I've seen men who thought they were broken discover that they were not broken at all. They were simply unprepared. They had been going to bed empty for years, and their bodies had been fighting to regenerate with no resources, no nourishment, no support. When they changed that, when they began to give their bodies what they needed at night, their mornings transformed. They felt alive again. And with that new energy came confidence, passion, and a renewed sense of manhood they thought was gone forever. Now picture yourself at the end of a long day. The world has asked everything of you: your time, your energy, your focus. You've carried responsibilities at work, at home, in your relationships. Your body feels the weight of every step you've taken, and your mind is cluttered with all the things left undone. This is the moment most men simply collapse into bed, hoping that sleep alone will restore them. But you are not most men, and tonight you make a different choice. Instead of surrendering to exhaustion, you take a few minutes to prepare something that will change how tomorrow feels. You reach for a glass, for a cup, and you begin a ritual, not complicated, not extravagant, but powerful. A drink that nourishes you while you sleep. A drink that fuels the army inside your body that works through the night to restore you. It may be something warm, comforting, filled with ingredients that have been trusted for centuries. Imagine ginger gently heating your body and boosting your circulation so blood flows freely, carrying oxygen and nutrients to every cell. Picture turmeric, golden and rich, fighting silent inflammation that has been wearing you down from the inside, helping your joints, your muscles, your very energy feel lighter. Add magnesium, rich ingredients that soothe your nervous system, calming the racing thoughts and tension that steal deep sleep, preparing your mind to truly rest. Perhaps you squeeze in a touch of lemon, refreshing and cleansing, supporting your liver so toxins don't burden your body while it repairs. Each sip becomes more than flavor. It becomes medicine, strength, and preparation for tomorrow. And as you drink, you feel the shift. The day begins to release its hold on you. The stress you carried starts to melt away. Your body recognizes what you are giving it and responds with gratitude, ready to use every mineral, every antioxidant, every drop of nourishment to rebuild you from the inside out. This ritual is not about indulgence, it's about intention. You're telling your body, I respect you. I will give you what you need so that you can give me what I need. That partnership between you and your body is what too many men forget. They demand performance without ever supplying the fuel. They ask for power but never provide the foundation. Tonight, you choose differently, and here's the truth. This ritual is simple. It doesn't require wealth or hours of preparation. It requires a decision. A decision to pour something healing into your body instead of pouring in alcohol that depletes, or caffeine that overstimulates, or sugary drinks that drain your energy even further. A decision to value your future enough to act in the present. The drink itself is less important than the meaning behind it, the commitment it represents. Because when you commit to this nightly ritual, you're not just drinking, you're building tomorrow's strength sip by sip. As you finish and lay your head on the pillow, something remarkable happens. Your body, now fueled and supported, begins its nightly work with full force. Blood vessels open, hormones replenish, cells repair. You are no longer a man going to bed on empty. You are a man preparing for battle, ensuring that when the morning comes, you will rise not as a shadow of your former self, but as a stronger, sharper, more powerful version of who you were yesterday. And it all began with a simple drink, a simple choice, a ritual that has the power to change everything. Gentlemen, this is the moment where you decide whether you will keep walking the path of quiet frustration or whether you will reclaim what has always belonged to you. Age is not your enemy, neglect is. Time is not your downfall, inaction is. The drink, the ritual, the science, all of it is only as powerful as your willingness to act. Every man reaches a crossroads where he must choose, surrender to the slow decline or rise and fight for his vitality, his strength, his passion. Tonight, I am telling you that the choice is still yours. You still have fire in your veins. You still have energy waiting to be unlocked. You still have mornings that can begin with power instead of weakness. Imagine waking tomorrow and feeling different, not sluggish, not drained, but alive. Imagine walking into your day with shoulders back, head high, and a confidence that radiates from within because you know you have fueled yourself, you have honored yourself, and you have taken control. That confidence spills into everything: your work, your relationships, your intimacy. The people around you notice the change, but more importantly, you notice the change. You look in the mirror and see not a man past his prime, but a man who has decided that his prime is still unfolding. That shift doesn't just happen. It is claimed, it is built, and it starts with choices like the one you make each night before you sleep. I've seen men transform their entire lives with something this simple: And I want you to see yourself as one of them. You don't need to wait for a crisis. You don't need to wait until you've lost everything, your energy, your drive, your relationships, to take this seriously. Start now. Start tonight. Let your nighttime ritual become your silent declaration of strength. Let it remind you that your body still listens when you give it what it needs. Let it restore not only your energy, but your belief in yourself. Because when a man believes again, when he feels powerful again, there is nothing he cannot do. So I am calling on you not to delay, not to promise yourself someday, but to take action tonight. Pour that drink. Begin that ritual. Choose the version of yourself that rises with energy, that greets the morning with strength, that shows the world he is not done yet. Life is short, yes, but it is also full of chances to reinvent, to renew, to reclaim. And your chance is right now. The future you want, the energy, the vitality, the power, it doesn't arrive by accident. It arrives because you decide to build it one choice at a time. So choose. Choose to stand tall, to rise strong, to fight for the man you still are and the man you are still becoming. Choose to believe that your best mornings, your strongest days, and your most powerful years are not behind you. They are waiting ahead, ready for the man who dares to claim them. And that man is you. I want you to take a moment and let this truth sink in. No one else can make this choice for you. Not your doctor, not your partner, not your children. This is a decision only you can make. You are the one who lives inside your body, who wakes each morning with either strength or struggle, who goes to bed each night either in defeat or in preparation. Too many men wait for someone else to push them, to inspire them, to force them to act. But greatness never comes from waiting. It comes from deciding. It comes from a man standing tall, looking himself in the mirror and saying, I am not done. I will not let age define me. I will not surrender to weakness. I will rise. When you take this step, when you choose to begin, you're not just changing your mornings, you're changing your life. The drink is only the doorway. What's really happening is that you are stepping into a new way of living, one that honors your body instead of punishing it, one that fuels your future instead of draining it. And as you build this ritual, you start to notice more than just energy in the morning. You notice clarity in your mind because your brain thrives on the same circulation and nourishment as your muscles. You notice a spark in your relationships because confidence and vitality are contagious. You notice discipline returning because once you master one ritual, you realize you have the power to master many. It starts small, but it grows into something unstoppable. Every sip you take at night is not just about hydration or nutrients. It is a symbol. It is a statement that you are choosing health over decline, action over excuses, power over surrender. And symbols are powerful because they remind us of who we are becoming. The man who drinks with intention is the man who wakes with strength. The man who cares for himself is the man who shows up for others with energy and presence. And the man who refuses to quit is the man who inspires others never to quit either. You don't just rise for yourself. You rise for everyone who looks to you, who depends on you, who believes in you. So I urge you, let tonight be the first of many. Let it be the moment you stop wishing and start acting. Let it be the night you decide that your mornings will no longer be wasted in fatigue, but filled with strength. Every ritual begins with a first step. Every transformation begins with a first choice, and that choice is waiting for you now.